Welcome to Natural AF. I'm your host, Isaac.
And I'm Alexa.
We're so glad you joined us today. We have an amazing episode for you. This show started out in my head. I was doing some breath work at Music and Sky Festival in California, and I had such a transformative experience at that I wanted average everyday people to experience some of these powerful transformative things, whether it's like what I've discovered later with Alexa using Psych K, emotion code. There's all these amazing natural things that really just require, an open mind, a tapped in intuition and your body. But I knew that guys like me, just your average everyday blokes, if you're in Australia, or dudes, if you're in America, don't really catch on to this stuff because it's usually colored with a lot of flowery, new agey language. And so I wanted Natural AF to really highlight these things and make it accessible and keep true to my energy and my spirit. And now that Alexa's here, making everything even more efficient and beautiful and fun and all that, we're bringing you an amazing episode that is right on that sweet spot of a regular dude overcoming immense odds and his beautiful partner, Kada, right there with him. But Barney and Kada Miller are exemplary in the realm of just being super positive in the face of really dark times, being honest, not pushing away all the negative, but really feeling it and moving through it and just staying true to who they are. You know, you hear Barney talk about these things. He's just a regular dude, 20 something years ago, he's just drinking beers with his mates, surfing, just hanging out and having no idea that he'd come up against what he's been through. And the story is staggering. It's incredible what he's been through.
Yeah, I love this episode so much because it's so on point with what we're all about here at Natural AF. And I think this is going to be so inspiring to people because it really does. Barney's journey is such an example of the capacity that we truly have as human beings. And I think the stuff that we talk about on this show, like I do really feel like the time that we're in right now, we're really just scratching the surface. And I think Barney's just a beautiful example of like, you don't have to know all the things and like know that you need to do the visualizations and the meditations and like you don't need to know all the theory. You don't need to have the informational knowledge. But if you just have this like knowing within yourself that like Barney said, like he was told he had a really terrible accident. We'll get into it in the episode. And he was told that he was never going to breathe on his own again. He was told that he was never going to walk again. And he was just like, no, I am going to do that. And he just had this sheer will and knowing that he would again. And he's achieved so much. And, and then obviously he's learned a lot along the way. And Kada's been such a beautiful support for him. And, and then we didn't speak about it a lot, but we did touch on it where Kada's so talented musically and how that's been a big part of their journey and her, going back to her music because, she dedicated so much of her life to Barney and what he was going through. And I just love them as a couple. I love their story. And yeah, I just love this episode so much. I think a lot of people are going to get there's so many golden nuggets in this episode. Yeah. And we mentioned it toward the end of the episode, but I want to highlight again the Harmonic Folk Festival that Kada has, teamed up with some other organizations to put together. That's coming up this November. It's Saturday, the 8th of November up on the sunny coast. We're going to be there. We're going to have a stall for natural art form. And I'm also going to have a stall doing mini human design readings. So it's going to be lots of fun. It's an awesome event. They're going to have music and dancing and workshops. And yeah, it's going to be a great day. So we'll put the link in the show notes to get tickets and we hope to see you there.
So this podcast is sponsored by our business, Natural Art Form. We're not doing a monthly sale this month. I know a lot of brands are out there doing Halloween specials and this and that. And we just do things a little bit differently. We don't really vibe with all the commercial sales and everything.
Yeah, we don't take every opportunity for what people call holidays. I actually noticed that a lot in America. Like they call Valentine's Day a holiday or like Halloween a holiday. Like it's not a holiday. Yeah. It's just a commercial load of crap.
Yeah, we take holidays whenever we damn well please. Thank you very much. What we also do at Natural Art Form is we like to promote other people in our community that are also doing these amazing things. Our friends Mayoko that are doing the tallow, our friends Primal Kiwi. So we've got a list of affiliates that we want to get everyone plugged into. These are people that we really align with and we vibe with. They have a similar worldview, a similar love for freedom and truth and natural everything. So
And a lot of previous guests. So we're affiliated with Remedy Collective. We've had Melissa Kupshon from Remedy. That's all things homeopathy. We have a discount code with them that actually a lot of people have gone and used. It's so amazing that homeopathy is really getting out there now. So that's just one of them. And that's why it's great. We've had these guests on. So if you're not sure about these companies or organizations, like go and listen to the episode and you'll really get a feel for everything that they're doing. We've had Nigel Dixon on from Primal Kiwi. We absolutely love his products. We've just put in another order. And then we're going to put in another order after that because we still haven't tried everything, but they're amazing, really beautiful animal-based products to support your health, your physical health. We're also affiliated with The Way Forward, Alex X podcast and community. If you're a member, you actually get 20% off our products if you're a Way Forward member. But then for anyone, if you go to the Way Forward website, you'll also get 10% off on their marketplace.
So we're constantly looking at growing and expanding this network of aligned businesses. You can stay in contact with us via our newsletter and our mailing list. Sign up for that on our website, and that's where you'll get the up-to-date information on when we have a new aligned affiliate.
And that's where you'll get where we'll be at the markets every month, all of our upcoming events.
Upcoming products. I've got so many plates spinning in the air. I've got several products that are coming up that we're going to launch, or I'm going to reformulate certain things to make them even better. So
yeah, there's a lot in the newsletter, guys. You don't want to miss it. So make sure to sign up for that on the website. And of course, as our listeners, you'll always get 10% off no matter how many times you order at Natural Art Form. Using the code NaturalAF10 at checkout, you get 10% off your entire order as many times as you want to order. So we'll always honor that for you. But yeah, we do implore that you go and check out our affiliates because they are amazing. And we really do want to build up this network of companies and organizations that are really looking at the world in a different way and looking at how we can create a better future.
We're building a new economy. We're building a new freedom economy, or free economy, if I may, but we support what we love or it goes away. That's a mantra that I think is going to serve people. Support what you love or it goes away, because there's so much out there. There's so much competition, and there's so many companies doing cheap knockoffs, and Amazon and Temu and Shein and this and that, literally ripping people off, including like our former guest, Barbara O'Neill. Her book's on there for $15 because they photocopied it. So just be aware of that stuff. Stay plugged into the real, and we'll see you there.
Enjoy the episode, guys. Barney Miller is a world champion adaptive surfer, surf coach, and motivational speaker whose journey embodies resilience and the limitless potential of the human spirit. A true pioneer in human performance, he is not only redefining what's possible in the surf, but also in rehabilitation as he works towards walking again. Using his own body as a living example of the profound mind-body connection, Barney explores a wide range of supportive modalities to wake up and retrain the body, inspiring those around him to break through their own limitations. His journey has deeply influenced his wife, Kada, a country singer-songwriter and health coach who specializes in homeopathy and classical Pilates. With a passion for bridging music, movement, and natural medicine, Kada founded Harmonic Folk, a community and lifestyle platform that celebrates healing, creativity, and human connection. Together, Barney and Kada co-founded the You and Me Collective, a movement that brings their shared story of resilience, love, and perspective to the world. It is home to their award-winning film, You and Me, their book, The Essence of You and Me, and their YouTube series, The Journey of You and Me. Through school visits and community programs, they share their outlook on life, inspiring the next generation to embrace challenges, nurture self-belief, and find strength in human connection. Their vision now expands with the launch of the Harmonic Folk Festival on November 8th on the Sunshine Coast, created in collaboration with Remedy Collective and Farmers Footprint Australia. This gathering blends wellness, music, regenerative living, and storytelling, a celebration of human potential and the power of community.
Welcome to the show, Kada and Barney Miller. So good to meet you, Barney. And I want to hear all about the legendary surfing and all the tales. And I read somewhere that you can hold your breath for 3 minutes. So we'll talk about that later on. But yeah, it's good to see you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, we're so stoked to be on the show.
Yeah, so good to have you guys on finally. And yeah, for our audience, obviously we met you for the first time last year at the Living Free Festival, Kada, and then we saw you again at the Remedy event. And that's why we're like, finally we get to meet Barney? We've heard so much
Yes.
about him.
Yeah, it's perfect timing too, because he's really well now and thriving, and so
Awesome.
we're in a really good place. So we've got lots of stories to share.
Yeah. And it's funny actually, because you've just reminded me, like, I remember at the Living Free Festival, I think he was meant to be with you. And then his health took a turn again and you were kind of in the thick of it. So even since we've met you, it feels like it's been a bit of a roller coaster. So I can only imagine what the last like decade's been like for you guys.
Yeah.
But let's start at the beginning, because I'd love to hear more about, your story, the way that you guys met. And obviously you've been together for quite a while now and you're married. And then sort of, the health journey that's entailed and all of it. So start wherever you feel you need to.
Yeah. Okay. So we met 18 years ago and have been together ever since. And yeah, we met, you can tell.
Oh yeah,
Festival.
we met at this incredible event that Sawtell has every year called the Sawtell Chili Festival, where vendors from all around Australia come and anything to do with chili, like whatever you can think
Chili
of.
chocolate, chili beer.
Chili eating contest. Like we actually had
Wow.
the chili eating contest, like from all the winners of each state, and they all came and they just plowed down on these chilies and like
We're not that hardcore.
no.
Believe it, not that much.
No, but it was actually it was actually gave me a sore stomach just looking at him. But and then after it, we found the guy that actually won, or I don't even know if he won, but we saw him later in the gutter, like just
Vomiting.
vomiting, just like, and he said
In so much pain.
in so much pain, just drinking milk and like trying to eat ice cream and but no, so yeah, I don't know.
But for us, it was
It's our kick. It's where our love kicked
where our
off.
story began.
Yeah.
I love it.
Started off spicy. I like it.
Yeah. Like it.
Must have been the festival that a friend was telling us about. And he was a bit this, he can handle chili. He loves chili. And he said, I went to this festival and they're like, the hottest chilies. And he was like, yeah, whatever. And he's like, so I ate him and he's like, and I was fine. And then he's like, and then all of a sudden he was like, I was just like,
Yes.
oh no, something's going on here. And he was like, it was the worst pain he'd ever experienced.
Oh, no.
He had it coming out both ends.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yes.
One actually a couple of years ago where it was literally a toothpick and we went like this and dotted it onto the cracker, and we were like, oh no, it's not too bad. And they're like, just wait for it. And literally 15 minutes later, we were on fire and went straight to the gelato. And we're
like a toothpick drop on a cracker, and it was like,
Oh.
oh man, like
Sounds like an experience.
Sounds
And
like a military weapon or something.
Yeah.
Exactly.
all right, so that was a big firecracker start to your relationship.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, and it was one of those like serendipitous moments, I think. I'd actually known of his accident when I was young. And so, there was this full circle moment of my family actually knew the family of the driver of the car accident.
Oh, wow.
And so, it was one of those moments that once we were together and actually started chatting about our stories and everything, I was like, wait, I was here when at that time, and then kind of put it all together and going, I think our lives were forever meant to be entwined together.
Yeah.
And one of the main memories I had of that moment when I found out about the accident was I was young and I actually prayed and said, I really hope that the boy that is fighting for his life is going to get through it and live a happy life.
Aww.
Cue me.
Happy life, happy wife. Okay.
So your accident, Barney, happened before you met. How old were you?
Yeah, I was 20.
Wow, so young.
Yeah. So I was a whitewater rafting river guide, and we were on our way up to the river just for a day of like pouring down rain, which is we get really excited when it rains because there's obviously going to be extra water. And the guy just driving just was just being stupid, and and then ended up with me getting trapped in a car and he get thrown out, and that sort of put my life on hold.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so how long after the accident did you guys meet?
8 years.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Right. And
Yeah, so he was like right in the thick of it, really. I think, I mean, for you, I'm probably speaking for you right now, but we've spoken about it a lot. But like Barney being 20 when he had his accident, it kind of, he still continued to act like a 20-year-old. And so
For
all
10 years.
for 10 years. Yeah, it was like that's the way they kind of coped with it, was that it was like everyone still partied, everyone. And I think for you, more than anything, it was like you wanted to prove that you were still the same person. So in some ways went above and beyond. So yeah, when we met, it was like I'd come from a really small country town and that had a lot of trauma. And I had lost friends to suicide. I had lost friends to drink driving accidents. It was kind of a really cyclonic kind of time throughout those years. And so when we met, it was like we were both at that point of going, like, I don't think we can keep going down this path that we're going. And we both wanted something more, but didn't know how. And I think it was our meeting that kind of gave us the strength and the courage to go, what is it that we really want out of life? What is it? What don't we want? And from that moment, we made a choice that we were going to live the best life possible. And yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
amazing.
Well, that's the power of intention, because it definitely looks like that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Amazing life.
Yeah.
Overcoming things. And I was going to ask, were you singing and performing by the time you met Barney?
So I've sang and performed my whole life, except for the moment, like that time when I met Barney.
Yeah.
So in that time, I was just in a really dark cloud, basically, just from so much loss, living in a town where, well, not even just the town, just in a time, I guess, where you don't talk about your feelings. Everyone kind of just drinks away their problems, gets on with it. And for me, I'm such a feeling person that for me, that wasn't enough. And yeah, so I probably should have turned to music in that time. It probably would have been a way more constructive use of my time. But I don't know. I think because I'd shut off my heart in that time, that music is so like there's no difference between my heart and my music. So I think because of that, yeah, I didn't sing for a while until I met Barney, and then he, yeah, kind of like unlocked it again. Like piece by piece, my heart started to open, which then, because my heart was opening, I was like, well, like I have to sing, I have to use my voice. That's the way that I heal.
Well, I didn't even know. Like at some point she just said, like, can I go get my keyboard out of storage or wherever it was? And I was just like, yeah, for sure. And then didn't even know she sang. And then one day I was just doing some emails and she set it all up and just started singing. And I'm like, what is that? Like just thinking that it was just the radio playing. And I was just like, far out, just blown away and just said, like, you have to do something with this. Like you have such an incredible gift. So yeah, that was sort of where
Still, I guess in that time, like that was so early. And then we didn't move to America until a year later. And it was there that I really started to actually go, I think I want to do this. And it was purely from watching Barney. So we we'll go back a bit. So we went to America for Barney to do rehabilitation, and because we found out about this incredible rehab center that was for spinal cord injuries and we're having really good results. And so from me kind of just jumping into his dream and just like jumping outside of myself for a minute, I was able to become so inspired by not only him, but all the people I was seeing in that center do what is considered to be impossible, what doctors, scientists, what they've said for years is that you'll never walk again, you'll never regain any function. If you haven't regained function after 2 years, then that's what you're left with. But Barney was actually 10 years post-injury when we moved over there. He was the longest post-injury patient that they'd ever had. They weren't really sure what the optics was going to be, but we were kind of like, you know what, we're here and we're going to do it. And the worst that can happen is he gets stronger and healthier. So we kind of went in with that. But because of that, I was like, well, if they're all doing this, what is really considered to be really hard, like there's no reason why I shouldn't use my voice and I shouldn't try and pursue this myself. And so that was the beginning of it all. I started doing open mic nights. And
where was this at in the States?
In Carlsbad, California. So
we drove through there when we were there.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. So we lived there like half and half for 10 years. And it was the best time ever. We loved it so much. And
incredible friends over there, and like they're a family. And so it's actually funny, like Oceanside, which is right near Carlsbad, is actually the sister city to Coffs Harbour, which is our big city here. So which was incredible. That's why we sort of we were like the Carlsbad felt small beach towny, but like obviously a big city, but small beach town feel. And
that trip, like that first trip that was 2009, and it completely transformed both of our lives. Like I look back at that moment going, because we made that choice to do that together, like our whole lives changed in so many ways that we never imagined possible. Like we went there just for one small goal, but we gained like a whole lifetime of lessons. And I think just as people, we grew so much. So many different concepts that I guess prior to that, I thought I was open-minded until I realized I wasn't. And then, like
the concept that you learned that you really value and use today.
There's, even just health, I guess we weren't unhealthy, but we were very much still in that like young party phase when we first went over there. But then we learned very quickly that in order to like get the most out of Barney's experience, like we had to not party. And I was driving all like everywhere too, and everywhere's just so far away and fast. And so it kind of like gave us a little boost. But we also got, we were lucky enough to be able to stay with a friend of a friend who was a personal trainer for a lot of professional athletes and musicians. And he was so healthy that we were too scared to bring unhealthy stuff into the place. So that was kind of the kickstart for us of completely changing how we ate. I would sit there in the kitchen with him, watch what he would make, learn from him. We'd just have the best conversations. And then bit by bit, our minds and our hearts were just like exploding, going, wow, like I never knew that life could be this amazing. And just bit by bit, it got better and better.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I just love, like what I love about your story, you guys, is, and Isaac and I talk about this all the time, just even in the experience we have had in our relationship especially compared to our previous relationships, is that relationships do have such an amazing potential for change. And like you said, like it can completely change the trajectory of your life, and not in a way where like you come together and you're super codependent and you can't do anything without each other. It's like where you inspire each other, and like the way you picked up your music again. And like having not known that, like when I first heard you, Kada, I think it was at the Living Free Festival, I was crying. I think it was one of the songs where you talked about Barney's story and the inspiration for the song, and then you sang it and I was like crying because you have the voice of an angel. Like it's your music is so beautiful. And then, but the story behind it, like I would have thought you've been doing that your whole life. Like, and so the fact that that's your inspiration, and like you said, like you put so much heart into it and you can feel that in your music, like, I just love that, yeah, your relationship has kind of been the catalyst for so much within your relationship. And then obviously for you, Barney, having that support of Kada going through all of that. Because I do want to ask, so just backtracking a little bit. So in that sort of 8 years, like before you got together, what was your journey like, Barney, from when you like had the car accident and were diagnosed quadriplegic? Where were you at when you met Kada?
I was at a pretty, well, I don't know, a dark time that I didn't know I was in, I guess. It was just, super like partying super hard. Like, it was funny because I was being sort of this area, like, you're friends with all age people. So as sort of the older crew of my crew sort of moved on to do uni or whatever like that, the younger crew then stepped up, and then I'd be partying with them, and so on and so on.
Multi-generation.
Every age group is good friends around here. So yeah, it was just like, so I just sort of stayed in that party stage for so long, and
you didn't really have a reason not to for a while.
No, there wasn't. And it comes back to, like, with the relationship, like when you find that person, it actually gives you it gives you a purpose in life, like to be better in yourself, to make the relationship work, or just to, have an incredible fun time together. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. And so in that 8 years, had you regained any function in that time, or you were just like, no?
I couldn't really hold I had great biceps from holding beer and drinking beer, but that's about it. But no, like, just
when we met, it's so crazy to look back at photos now, and even just to think of how we even got around, because he couldn't stand the way I would transfer him would be basically by his pants and like a wedgie across to like scoot him across. But if he lifted his hands up like above his waistline, he'd get really off balance. He had no movement in his legs at all. But I think the thing that really struck me when we first met was that his mind was so strong, so fit, like that mental, the mental ability for him to be able to keep going. And I think it was more, he never really went through like a depression kind of stage, but I think it was more distraction. And then he was just caught in that loop for a really long time. And
I was working out,
and you were still working out, but it was just the bare minimum.
Just like what I could do, pretty much. Like,
never about his lower body. It was always just about, like, you'd do boxing training and weights and stuff.
Well, we didn't know. I didn't know any better. Like, it was like I always had in my head that I was going to walk again, like, and all that sort of stuff. So, but I just didn't know. There was always that missing link in the chain that I just was like, well, I just I'll never let go. I never will let go of that. Like, I guess the thought and the knowing.
And I think it's more than a goal, it's a knowing, like a deep knowing. And that was one of our first conversation we ever had. Was I asked him, is this forever? Like, what's the prognosis? And he was like, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know that one day I will walk again. And I know that, like, he goes, I just know it in like every part of my being. And that, for me, in that moment, was like this light bulb of like, yes, we can do, like, we're in charge of our outcome, basically. And the choices that we make in every moment are all moving towards something. So why don't we make those choices be something that's moving towards something that we want?
Yeah, that could be the real challenge, where you have this big, because that's the definition of a big, hairy, audacious goal, a BHAG, you know?
Yeah.
You don't exactly, you don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know how. I'm going there, but
it's the deepest trust fall.
But it takes time, and it takes some relearning to like start bringing your habits and your daily actions and everything else into alignment with that goal. And it's because it's so easy not to, like you know very well, it's easier to party and drink and just be like, we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
We're definitely doing it.
Well, you see it a lot. Like it's very common. Like most people I find that like get addicted to, that I've come across, that get addicted to like prescription pain pills and stuff. That's usually what's happened. They've had an accident, some like really bad, usually it's often like back stuff, and had an accident. They got put on the pain pills, and then they've just given up on life. Oh, I can't do anything because of my back. Yeah. Oh, and they start with the story, you know, and then they just they just perpetuate the story. But when you look at the people that have had these things happen to them and are like you, Barney, and they're just like, I know I'm going to walk again. I know. And they've got this determination. And they're the people that you hear like that become motivational speakers and like do these great things because so many people want to learn from them and that's the thing. It's like, it is really sad because most people, unfortunately, like that's the minority that are like, nah, I'm going to like, they don't listen to what the doctors are telling them. And unfortunately, that's what happens in our medical system. You're just told you're not going to walk again. You're not going to be able to do this.
Rather than looking at the human in front of you.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think the thing that helped Barney so much was that he was already an athlete. He was already pursuing surfing to become a professional surfer. So because of that, he already had that athlete mentality of you just push, you just keep going, you just, and I mean, also his mum was incredible as well, of always being extremely encouraging, and her saying would be the power to win comes from within. And that's something to this day that we still hold.
Yes, definitely.
And, I think a lot of people thought we were crazy when we first said that we were going to move to America and we were going from that time around, like you hadn't really been away from your family since the accident for that long a time. Like his mum and stepdad lived across the road at the time. And so they were always kind of close by. And so everyone else in his friend group from that age group had all gone off and started their lives and started experiencing traveling, uni. But Barney had always been stuck in the same place. So it was kind of a really big moment as well, even to physically move somewhere else to get him out of that same environment that had kind of kept him stuck. Even though we have the most incredible community around here, I think sometimes you have to take yourself out of that bubble in order for you and get a bit uncomfortable in order for you to make those big changes. And like we were going into a place that we didn't know anyone, we didn't like know anything.
Yeah.
We were so fresh and young and naive, and it was just the perfect amount of naivety that made us go, we're doing this.
Yeah. And like, cause we literally only knew two people, or like one person was a surfer that I knew that was on the tour, and then was his trainer Paul, who we ended up staying with. We met Paul at a party in Hawaii, and like we were talking, and he's like, yeah, we told him that we're going to Carlsbad, and he goes, that's where I live, and he goes, you're welcome to come stay with me. And then we're like, okay, oh, that'd be cool. And then we just thought it was just sort of that piss talk where you're like, yeah, sweet, come stay. And I'm like, and you go the next day and they're like, who the hell are you? Like, and then, so then we met him the next day again, just at the house where the Rip Curl house was. And he goes, oh yeah, I meant what I said last night. And we're like, that's awesome. We just thought you were on the piss and just wasted and stuff. And he goes, no, they're zero alcohol beers, so they're not alcoholic. So he's like, so he was like, that's the fitness guy. So we're like, yeah, sick. All right, well, that was the start of the journey. So we knew him, and then Taylor, who was a professional surfer, and that was it. And then they just opened up our life. Like, they were. Yeah, it was so incredible to have.
Yeah, and it's so amazing to see. Well, and I've experienced this, but especially when you hear these stories, when you like we've been saying, like you chose this path. You were just like, I know I'm going to walk again. I don't know how, but I know I'm going to do it. And then when you're on that path, we always talk about this, that it's always like the road less traveled, and it's always going to be more challenging than just taking the easy road. But when you do that, that's what happens. These people just come along, the right situations come along, like the right opportunities. And that's always for me like a sign, like I know I'm on the right path when it just flows, just the right people, the right things come along. So I want to sort of go now. So that was, how long did you say you were like back and forth between the States?
For 10 years, from 2000 to 2019.
Okay. So over that whole time, is that when you kind of just like slowly was just like you were regaining more and more function?
Just chipping away at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That first year that we went for 3 months, and it was the most invigorating experience of our lives. Again, like we came in so naive, like first day, it was like first day of school, like kind of thing. We walked in, like, hi, we're from Australia. And they were like, welcome. They couldn't understand hardly anything we said. They thought we spoke too fast.
We
went there in summer, and like, so we're like, oh, the California summer's going to be incredible. And it's like
freezing.
And like Baywatch lied to me all those years. It was cold. I had packed one jumper. Like, it was like I had a wetsuit top where I actually froze, like surfing. And I'm like, oh man, this California's not made up, but it was incredible. Like,
so we sat down for his first session, and we were chatting, and the first trainer, his name was Jason, and he's kind of like this bodybuilding kind of type, very serious, and we were like, I was kind of sussing him out. I'm like, I feel like he's probably a really soft teddy bear underneath all those layers, but we're going to crack him eventually. Because like he'd make a joke and he'd be like, just straight face. and then I would just tell myself, oh, he just didn't understand what I said. And then Barney, he goes, okay, so what are your goals? And Barney's like, I want to walk. And he's like, okay, 10 years post-injury, let's like make some smaller goals then. He's like, what about this? Can you do this? And Barney's like, yeah, I can do that. Had no idea if he actually could. He kind of just faked it till he made it, everything. But it was actually a really cool experience, because it was the first time he was put into a position, or his body was put into a position that it was challenged. It was challenged, but it was also given direction of like a task. So the exercise program was called Project Walk, and it was a kinesiology based exercise program. And so even for that, it was our first real experience of like mind body connection. And the whole point of it is that they will say, okay, we're going to focus on moving this leg, but they'll move it for him. But he's kind of starting to create those connections. They use a lot of mirror work and then a lot of mental work alongside the physical. And so within that 2 weeks, I think, he was able to bridge for the first time, which blew our minds, because we were kind of just like, yeah, he can do it. I have no idea. Let's see. And yeah, it was like we were witnessing a dormant volcano just erupting. Like it had been waiting for that perfect condition or that trigger to go, okay, it's time to move now. It was kind of like it was just lazy and going, I'm just taking a nap right now. You tell me when you want me to start work again.
Wow.
It really goes to show as well, like those first initial words of the doctor saying you will never do blah, 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 blah. And even though in his heart he never believed it, subconsciously he'd taken on that belief in some ways. And there's still like, we're still rewiring through that to this day. There's little things now that even recently that we're like, with all that we've known, like I can't believe we've still been repeating that same story. And so, yeah, it's like one bit by bit, we're really conscious of the language that we use, the way that we speak. Barney will never call him, like, say, I'm a quadriplegic. He'll say, I have been diagnosed as a quadriplegic, or I have a spinal cord injury, but he won't ever like be like, this is
Yeah.
me. And I think because of that, we've created a whole new mindset for a lot of other people with spinal cord injuries that have come into our worlds or have heard about Barney's story, for them to realize that like anything really is possible. And yeah, it's been the greatest gift in so many ways, of like from a really big tragedy to be able to turn it into something beautiful that has so much meaning and power for other people and ourselves. Like we wouldn't change anything.
No way.
Yeah. So when you were doing where they're moving the leg for you and then you're using your mind, was that where you're like visualizing yourself doing the motion and you're in that place where you can imagine it and then do it?
Exactly. Yeah. Just like it, just a repetitive thing. Like it's still,
Repetition.
yeah. And we just, so it just was like, and it, like obviously each time it finds a little pathway somehow or something clicks or something like that, and then it just ends up happening, and then it's just like far out, like so crazy like that. And even like it was in 2010, which was my second year there. I stood for the first time and like locked out my legs, and just that in itself, like looking in the mirror, like it was almost like a mind fuck. Like you're looking at yourself and you're like, hold on a minute, like I'm actually standing here. Like, am I standing? Like just so getting over that sort of obstacle, like, and then just seeing it, and it just improved your knowing that you can do it and stuff. So
absolutely.
From that moment, it was basically like, okay, it's on.
Yeah.
We've just clicked into a whole new gear, and it was warp speed from there until it wasn't.
Until it stopped again. But
Well, I wanted to get into that a bit because like I said, so around August of last year when you were at the festival, I think you said Barney was meant to be with you, but his health kind of took a turn pretty unexpectedly. So what happened then? And had you had anything like this happen prior to that, like over the last 10 years? I'm sure there was plenty of ups and downs, but what happened there?
Yeah. So that first, up until 2014, so we'd been doing Project Wolf for a few years, and 2014 was the first year he got a really bad UTI, which then turned into a bladder stone. And it was kind of like the first little shakeup, but you kind of recovered back from that pretty well. But then they didn't get all of it, and then so it grew again, and so he ended up having to have another surgery in 2016. And after that surgery, in the stent removal, he actually had the ureter was stretched the wrong way and twisted and stuff, so caused a lot of scar tissue damage, which then
between my kidney and bladder,
which then led to the next few years of his. We didn't know that had happened, but he'd felt pain the whole time. And he had, his kidney was just filling up and not draining properly for the next few years.
And sand. Too much sand.
Yeah, exactly. And so from that, it was just like little niggles here and there, and he'd just be in pain, but nothing crazy because he's got such a high pain threshold that he's not actually, we've decided now he's not a good gauge anymore. Like I now know the signs to look for because he can kind of push through the heaviest pain. So 2019 was when it first came to a head. He ended up with kidney failure in his right kidney. Wow. And went through 12 surgeries, I think, that year to try and save it. And then in the end, ended up losing it. Yeah. And then then we were like, okay, we're ready to start living again. And then 2020 hit, and like that was for us was a really nice time because the world was stopped. So we had no excuse to like get out and do stuff. So for us, we were like, okay, this is actually a really good time for us to just really recoup and regenerate, and which we did. And then we bought our van. So then 2021, we traveled. So because of that, and because he was feeling so good for that time, we didn't really go get extra scans or anything because it was going good. And then 2022, it was basically as soon as we got home. Or actually also in 2021, we lost Barney's mum as well. So there was a lot going on, but we kind of just did our trip around Australia. It was amazing. Came home, and then from there, basically from 2022 to the beginning of this year, it's been a really rocky time, but it's very much like again, another trust fall of going, there has to be a reason for this happening. We, like you haven't gone through everything that you have gone through in order for this to be it.
Yeah.
And so in that time, I started studying, went to doing homeopathy, nutrition, and basically just completely stripping back everything, going like, what else can we be doing?
Yeah.
And then ultimately it came down to we had to go down a really deep spiritual path of unlocking all the trauma that had been sitting dormant for our whole lives.
But it sort of, it came to a head when like I'd get little flare-ups like just in my body, and then it would go away, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, all right, sweet, I'll keep living. So I keep living. Then we make plans, and then I have a flare up, and we have to cancel those plans. So for that time, like from 2022 to like October last year, it was hard to make plans. It was, just life just sort of started slowly getting just like degenerating and start and then it just came to a point where we were away, and I couldn't, I was in so much pain which I'd push through that I couldn't get up, I couldn't sit up, I'd go lightheaded, I'd pass out, like just got to that point, and then we went to fly out to go to Europe last year.
The trip that we did this year, we were meant to do last year.
Yeah.
And
we got to the airport.
Yeah, got to the airport.
Checked in.
Bags had already been checked in. We were just hanging out.
It was an hour before, and I looked at him and I was like, we're not getting on that plane. And he's like, no, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. I'm like, no, absolutely not. We're not doing this.
Yeah.
And the moment that I cancelled it, like he started to burn up from there. And so we drove home the next day, and I kind of just gave him, I knew that we weren't making that trip at all, but I kind of let him feel like we may still make the trip down along the line, because my sister and her partner were going on the same trip. It was for her 30th birthday. And we were like, I was like, no, we might meet them. We might meet them. Don't think we're going to meet them. And he went into a deep healing portal from that moment. And it was, I think because he is so optimistic and so positive, you forget that sometimes that can be a little bit of bypassing. And
Definitely.
yeah. And so it's like a lot of emotional suppression that I think that was just his coping mechanism, really. And for him to be able to get through life, basically. And then, because of that, we, went very, very deep. And I've never seen you so low, but it was also this necessary low. And from that was when we started him on the homeopathic treatments. And so that helped to assist bring a lot out. And it was rocky, and powerful
Mm.
and
Yeah.
sacred.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
came out of it strong-minded again. And
Yeah.
Well,
but still, like there was still like I was more strong-minded, but still fighting that underlying health something that was going on. But it was kind of weird because it was like I was fine, like it was all good. Like I was, yeah, mentally it was epic. Like I just pushed through whatever, and then
And really, like, apart from that one moment at the airport, you hadn't actually been sick. Like, he
no,
wasn't ever like sick. It was just more pain.
Mm.
And then, and then we kind of put things down. Like, his chair was really uncomfortable, was changing things out with that. And so, anyway, we went on a family holiday to the Gold Coast. And then all of a sudden, he had this lump, like, in his pubic area, like, just above, um, like, underneath the bladder. And I was like, that doesn't look good.
Mm.
And he was like, we're here for a family holiday and just want to get through this. We got through it, came home, and then I touched it. It was really hot and like scalded my hand.
Wow.
wow.
The next, went to sleep. The next morning, it had like a little hole had popped. And then all of this, it was basically like a cyst had burst and it was coming out. So I was like, okay, well, that's good. Like we're getting it out. And then urine started coming out of it.
Oh no.
Wow.
So we were like, that is 100% not good.
Yes.
So,
it's funny because as soon as all that infection left, I was like,
I feel
I actually
great.
feel really good. And then it's like that happens, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, so I'm feeling good, but that's not good structurally. Like,
Yeah. So his urologist is an hour and a half south of us. So I basically had to like tape him right up,
yeah,
get him in the car, get him down there. And
my torso looked like a footballer's head. Like it was like,
Yeah.
I had to tape myself back together, and then
yeah, and so we got down to Port Macquarie and he got put in. They did scans and then they said, have you been feeling any pain lately?
Oh no.
He's like, yes. And she goes, well, I'm gonna say it's really impressive, like what's happened anyway. It was a bladder stone the size of his entire bladder.
What?
And it was so he'd had an infection that caused the stone, which then the stone caused the infection. So it was kind of a bit of a cycle, which is why he'd come through like up and down.
Yeah.
So long story short, they had to remove that, but because of it coming breaching through the skin, they had to do a full bladder reconstruction, then had to patch that up and reroute the urine straight out of the kidney. And yeah, so that basically took 6 months of like work for him to get back to good. And then spent 6 months in a hospital bed downstairs at our house. And again, it was a very, like, it sounds crazy, but it was actually a really enjoyable experience of just having an excuse to just stop and go, what do we want? How do we want to live our life? Like, we never want to be in this position ever again. What can we do?
like the whole thing was in a kind of, which sounds weird, like being in hospital, having all the surgeries. It was actually kind of pleasant because I didn't feel like I obviously had pain from the surgery, but it wasn't like the pain I'd been dealing with for the past 2 years wouldn't didn't even like the surgeries didn't even match up to that pain. Like
You're right.
it was yeah, so it was actually good. We enjoyed like just had a good time in hospital, but we were so lucky because the specialist said like you're actually really lucky that the infection came out the front because they said usually like and you're lucky that you're so healthy and keeping it that your body just the whole part of your body and the way it works is if there's something that it doesn't like, it gets rid of it somehow. So it was just like, I just need to get this infection out of me. I don't care where it comes out. So it burned its way through my front.
Mm.
And she goes, if that had gone inward, you would have been dead within a day. Like
It was sepsis.
it was like, it was like the infection was just like, they couldn't believe how chronic it was and
And
how
then
I
he's
was
just
still,
like, they're looking at him, looking at the papers, at the results, going, this isn't really matching. Like, are
Right.
you feeling okay? And he's like, yeah, I feel fine. It's just annoying. Like, we literally was so naive again, thinking like we got there thinking he was just going to get stitched up and then we're going to be out of there.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah,
it's interesting, isn't it? Because that's like you said, this is our body's natural healing process is to just eliminate anything that doesn't need to be there. And often what happens is, like they said, if that had gone in, I think what happens a lot of the time is with medical intervention, so often it's just suppressing symptoms. So
Yeah.
instead of allowing the body, a fever is a perfect example. And we see this with babies all the time. It's normal for babies to get fevers. It's just their body trying to eliminate something. But then you give them Nurofen or Panadol and it suppresses the fever. And quite often it prolongs the illness or, they'll seemingly get better and then they'll get worse. And if we just allow things to happen. I mean, look at how severe that was. And the fact that happened was like your body just did what it needed to do. And then obviously you found the cause. But I did want to just clarify too. So all of this was after they'd removed your kidney. So were kind of all the bladder issues did they kind of stem from those initial surgeries and?
no, not really, no. Like it was because it was so crazy because being away and being in the van, being in nature, I had nothing. Like my body was incredible. But as soon as we came back home, and then it was like almost like my body was like, I don't really like it back here. Like it's kind of you got to deal with all your problems and shit now, and so it's like
yeah.
so we've got to
There was definitely an emotional aspect to it, definitely a trauma aspect of it. But then also there was the physical block as well of like Barney had a catheter in for like through his pubic bone for 25 years and it just became compromised as well. So even on that side, I think that's where like conventional medicine is brilliant of being able to come in for emergency surgeries.
Yeah.
So we just surrendered to that part of going, okay, this is what we need to do.
Yeah, just reconstructing a bladder. I'm just like, I didn't even know we could do that.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Like because the bladder was actually it'd been burnt, there'd been a hole burnt in it.
Yeah.
So they said apparently you've got this bit of skin which is sort of just below your belly button, like on your inside, which it's like a flap. It doesn't really do much. So we'll just chop that flap off and we'll cover up your bladder
like
and
a skin graft.
Yeah, like it was like, oh, I'm like, wow.
Just stitch.
They were so stoked with what they did, like, and how good it worked. So
Yeah.
they've actually made it better than ever. So.
And it was one of those moments of like sometimes it feels like you're going backwards, but it's like a necessary back step to take that massive leap forward. And yeah, so
and what with the going back to the underlying stuff, like when I came back and had to deal with stuff, like it was like they relate our sort of guru guy that we have, Rob. He sort of said, so what was going on in the kidneys and stuff like it's related to being pissed off, like it's sort of being pissed off. And so that's sort of one thing I had to go through, just watching my mum decline and not get and get all these medical interventions thrown at her, which just made her get worse and worse and worse. It was like it was related to being pissed off, like at the whole.
Yeah, it makes so much sense.
Was that during COVID when she was in the hospital, or was that before?
No, so she got sick before. She had what they call dementia.
Right.
Yeah.
What we call a spiritual decline.
Yeah.
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 And a pharmaceutical
cocktail
facade.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, they pretty much just like drug you up.
We watched it. Like we watched her decline, like the more and more they started giving her, and then she'd get to a point of the day where she'd start to come out of it, and then she'd be like, oh, the doctor told me to take this tablet, so we take the tablet and we watch her just decline again. It's just like we couldn't understand.
Yeah. But it makes so much sense. like
Yeah.
there's always emotional roots, I believe, to all physical. I mean, obviously you can have an accident and that's,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I think things that are happening internally do stem from all that, from our trauma, from our suppressed emotions, all of that. And actually, as you were talking, I mean, the pissed off thing makes so much sense. But have you guys looked into German new medicine at all? And
Yeah, a little bit, not much, but
well,
yeah.
I only know, like I know a little, like I have a general understanding. I haven't gone super deep into it, but as you were talking, I remembered, I'm pretty sure bladder in German new medicine theory is like, territorial conflicts, which also makes sense because as a man, we just had Nellie Barnett on recently, and she was saying for a man's territory is like their home, their family, like their woman, children. And I would definitely like relate that to your relationship to your mum, because men tend to be very protective over all the women in their life. So
Especially because the two of them for such a long time as
yeah,
well.
there you go. Yeah, exactly. And not just that, like the territorial conflict of, I don't know exactly what bladder is, but generally like territory, it can be anything from even like the being in the hospital, because that's kind of not your territory. So yeah, it's very interesting to look at all these different sort of schools of thought around the emotional roots, because every time I look up something for someone in German medicine, they're just like, oh, that resonates. Like it's
Yeah, it was so funny when we were in the hospital though, because it's the furthest place to how we experience our life, basically. So I had like essential oils diffusing. We had the red light on. We were wearing our blue blocker glasses.
love it.
And I had like a little like fridge thing that had like all the things.
Yeah.
They would come in and just be like, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's so funny. It's for
And then
us.
with like sage and like
Can't burn that here.
It's so funny because for people like us, we'd walk in and be like, "Oh, these are our kind of people," but for everyone else, I'd be like, "Who are these freaks? Like, what are they doing?"
I had one really amazing nurse actually, and she was all for it. She'd come in, she's like, "Yes, what are we doing today?"
I love it. That's awesome.
Just take a deep breath. Just come in and just go.
Yeah.
Like
And
this.
and because Barney was completely bedridden, he couldn't get out for 6 months basically. He got special permission for them to be able to take the bed out into the sun each day. So we'd have like, we call it the spa appointment, and he's like, just going off to the day spa, and he'd go out. I'd like basically strip him down to a towel. Yeah. And then I would be rubbing coconut oil on.
Oh, amazing. I want to go to that spa.
Smoothies. So I was like,
yeah. And then we'd do like visualization. I'd stand and ground on the grass and then just hold him.
Beautiful.
That's
yeah.
amazing.
And honestly, they're the things that like people sometimes often discount, not people in our circles, but they just think
it's
that.
massive.
Yeah,
Even,
absolutely.
like Barbara O'Neill talks about that. We had her on, but she's like, get it out in the sun. She like literally has people do that with like penis cancer and stuff. It's like
like the funny thing in hospitals, they have these windows, but they don't open. Like
I know.
Like
I mean, we spent so much money on food too, because like I'm not eating any of it.
Hospital.
Yeah.
And so still getting Uber Eats.
We kept Uber Eats pretty much floated that whole sort of time that we were in hospital for that 3 weeks, because we were having 3 meals a day, like just like getting it in. Like we had to find good food and get in. So
and it's so important. Like, you guys make a great point. We've spoken about this on the show as well, and I've spoken to Kada about my journey with, I had breast implants and then I had them removed last year because they were making me unwell. And this is when conventional medicine, I mean, obviously it's because of conventional medicine, not that it's medicine, but, surgical processes that like I had to go through this because I had a surgery to get them in, put them in, and then I had to have a surgery to take them out. But I am so grateful, and my surgeon did such an amazing job. But these are the times where sometimes we just have to go through that process. And then, but it's like, well, how can you support your body with all the other things? And like in my journey, like I took the pain meds because I was like, I don't really want to feel this. Yeah. To be honest, I probably would have been fine. It's actually really interesting because even when I had them in, so like about almost a decade ago now, I remember even after that surgery, I just stopped taking the things when I felt I didn't need them anymore. So I stopped taking the anti-inflammatory. I stopped taking my pain meds like 2 days after I got out of the hospital. Like I wasn't in pain. I didn't need them. And I kind of did the same thing. Now, I obviously don't recommend everyone do that. You really have to be so in tune with your body and trust your body.
Yeah.
Because if you go in with like ego of like, oh, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, and you don't trust your body, they're the types of people that if they just stop taking medication, like they'll get really unwell.
Yeah.
Exactly. And push themselves too. Like I find there's that finding that happy medium. You have to take some of that, you have to take some of the pain off, but not take it all the way off. You still have to feel a tiny bit, but like, because if you feel nothing and you're like, oh, I feel great, I'm going to go out and do this and do that, and then pain meds wear off and you've just ruined the surgery you've just had.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first round when Barney had the kidney removed that year in the very initial stages of the first lots of surgery, he had to have a tube go directly into the kidney through the side, but because of where they were doing it in the like radiology like I think it was under a CT scan. They have no jurisdiction at the time to administer any pain relief.
Right.
So it was basically like barbaric times.
It was.
He had to bite on a
So you feel everything they're doing?
You just pour some whiskey on it and then go for it.
Yeah.
It was like a long needle, and they just had to like jam this long needle through my side to. It was,
And he had to have that done like 5 times over.
Wow.
This used to be like a Native American like initiation ritual, but now it's like a lifestyle.
I remember the first time he came back, because they said it would only take like 15 minutes. He was gone for an hour and a half, and he came back just like traumatized.
Yeah.
And then throughout that whole period, you're kind of declining a lot of the pain meds. And then this time round, I was like, just take what you need, because the trauma that you experienced from last time, like the actual like mental trauma of it, is way worse. Just like your mind's strong, you're not going to get addicted, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But for you feel like they mess with your head more than they actually touch the pain.
Yeah.
And so I made up an incredible homeopathic pain blend. It's called Narayani mix. And he used that the whole time, and it's homeopathic morphine and aconite. And so aconite.
Whoa, that's cool.
And,
it was like,
and you sipped on that the whole time in the hospital.
We
and
just
so
had that, and I did. Like
he took the bigger pain meds for like necessary times, like straight after surgery and like in transfer kind of things. But other than that,
just a minimum amount. Like
but the rest you just
not the hardcore stuff.
and so the same thing, it kind of like takes the edge off enough for you to be able to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And I mean, sometimes you said that it would like you
it
didn't feel
just
pain at all.
This homeopathic blend was just like put in water and shake it up each time you have a sip, and so you just I cannot like. I'll probably never take pain meds again after this, but like I'm not encouraging people to do that. But like, the power of homeopathy is.
I know, isn't it incredible? And I also used. So when I came out, and we've shared this on the podcast before, Isaac was freaking out. When I came out, like straight after my surgery. Or not straight after, because I was in the hospital I was overnight. So they were giving me whatever through the IV. And then when I went home, I had this whole list of prescriptions. Anyway, I went and picked everything up. I looked through everything and I was like, nah, I'm not taking the antibiotics. I haven't taken antibiotics in, almost 10 years. And they're just like, just like a non-negotiable for me. I just don't want to take them.
I used to be, so I was trained as a trauma medic in the Army, but we used to do minor surgeries and stuff. So we were like the special operations medics.
Yeah.
And, so I've been in surgeries. I've done that. I know how dirty it can be. Like we literally would do that out in the field. And I'm thinking, you're not taking antibiotics. Like you're going to get
He was like, are you sure?
infection in there. Like they're wearing paper masks in the surgery. We all know those don't do shit. Like they particles threw it into you. Like
he was really freaking out.
Antibiotics.
And I was like, no, I just know. I was like, I'm fine. And I took arnica and calendula. And they help prevent infection. And I was like, no, I'm just going to take and again, like we've been using homeopathy like pretty much all my life. So I know that they work. I trust them. And I was completely fine. And we were also, that's what I mean. I was taking the pain meds and I was taking some sort of, was it the anti-inflammatory meds? It was a blend of pain and anti-inflammatory meds, which again, I just kind of weaned myself off as I could feel I didn't need them. And we were just using a bunch of natural stuff. I was using colloidal silver on the wounds and manuka honey and all these things. And it was such an empowering experience for me because it was such, and like, that's what I can totally relate to that, Barney, where it's like for me, I felt a little bit, I just felt conflicted because I really didn't want to have another surgery. But as you know, sometimes you're in these situations where you're just like, you just have to do it. Like there's really no other way. And then also so for me, I actually lost sensation in like my nipples, which is a risk that you run even with my first surgery, because I had a breast lift with implants. So they reposition the nipple in that surgery. So even that was a risk that could have happened, but I didn't. And I always had feeling, but coming out of this surgery, I had no feeling. And that's for me is like, that's like my journey now where I'm like, I know that we have the power to regrow these nerves. And again, that mind body connection, all the visualization. And for me, because we want to have kids, I just always picture myself breastfeeding and I picture like the milk ducts, like whatever. I don't know what any of it looks like, but I'm just like, I know that we have that power, but it's like that, like you said, like the trust fall, like you don't know what the outcome's going to be, but that's what I'm striving for.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the only way to live. Definitely.
Yeah, I think like we've basically lived our whole life of just trying to be as empowered as possible and then try to empower other people as much as possible to just, take that, like have that self-responsibility of going, like his surgeon actually said to him, I really want to thank you guys for being so proactive in your whole thing. So right towards the end, he was going to have another final surgery on the kidney because the stones had kind of gone up into the kidney as well. And it was quite a significant size, not quite as big as the one in the bladder, but it was still pretty big, to the point that she said the only way for them to remove it would be through open kidney surgery. Now he's only got one kidney left.
Yeah.
We were like, I don't really feel comfortable with doing that. And you were like, don't worry about it. I'll deal with it. I'm going to break it down. And she was like, you do whatever you feel you want to do. You've got until this date, see what happens. Anyway, we came home, we put him on a really big protocol of homeopathy and then also a herb called Piedra. And it broke down the stone, and high dose vitamin C, which I wouldn't recommend for anyone that has kidney stones because it depends what type of stone you have. For Barney, he had a struvite stone, which was basically one that's caused from an infection, which is magnesium phosphate ammonium. And a lot of the common ones that people get is a calcium one. So high doses of vitamin C can be a bit tricky sometimes and can add to it. So in his case, it really worked, and we were able to break it down enough for her to go, I'm going to prolong it for another 6 weeks. It's not you're not in any threat or anything. It's just, if anything, it might be a bit uncomfortable, but for you were fine.
Yeah.
And so then we spent the next 6 weeks like really honing in on it. And he was able to, they just did 2 little surgeries just to flush out and just really make sure that everything was clear, so then he could really start this next journey fresh. And he has been better than ever. It's
incredible.
So that last surgery was
February.
Feb this year.
What's that herb again?
Piedra. It actually translates to stonebreaker, and it's the herb from the Amazon.
So for anybody that's dealing with stones, check that out. Go look it up.
I think it's also good for gallbladder.
Health as well,
and kidney health.
Yeah.
Amazing. I know there's something out there for everything, and I love it when you like find these herbs. It's like, it translates to this. Like Isaac uses Yeah, he uses comfort in our products, and it's like, yeah, it's called bone knit, and you use it on fractures and bones. And it's like, it's really not that difficult, but
it's not so.
and that's the thing too. Again, it just comes back to intention, where you're just like, no, I'm going to sort it out, and you did all the natural stuff. Because also, you do quite often see people, you go down the natural route and it doesn't work for them. And I think that's why we've got some friends going through some health challenges, and quite often there's a lot of desperation, a lot of fear, and not enough trust in their body and the things that they're taking and whatever. So they do these courses of natural treatment that don't necessarily work for them. So that's why I think, again, it's so important to highlight
plus
the
doing
intention.
the emotional work and the internal.
Yeah, exactly. I think it really has to marry up all of those aspects, because you can do all of those things. And we were guilty of it for many years. We would do all of the natural things, but because we weren't doing necessarily the emotional cleansing as well, it kind of, you have to take a step back and look at how you got there in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And drink your
rewrite those stories.
Is that something you've tried, Barney?
What?
Isaac's always making jokes about it.
Oh,
no. He did make a homeopathic remedy from his urine.
Awesome.
That's smart.
But
maybe that's the way I'll go about it, because I know all the benefits. I've looked into. I'm like, I know
essentially
it's great.
what the urine therapy is. It's, to me, it's more like a homeopathic thing.
Yeah, it's like cures. Well, same cures same.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think with that, like, obviously some people, they want a quick fix. Like sometimes natural is just that little bit longer, and people think they don't have the time.
Or they'll do it for a little bit and be like, it didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work.
They could really be just on the cusp of it.
Literally, it's like.
But I think too, sometimes like we need to get back to being like connecting within ourselves. I think we've all lost that because we're so distracted with so many different things. We're so busy, so fast paced. And that's the thing I love about like having a homeopathic first aid kit, for instance, is that when you look through, you're like, this is my symptoms. You actually have to stop and think, okay, this is my symptoms, but how does this symptom differ from this symptom?
Yeah.
And say for a headache, for example, you're like, well, is it in the front of my head? Is it in the back? Is it like a pulsing? Is it a throb? Is it like a band? And that kind of helps you to differentiate between the remedies that you're going to be picking to really target it properly. And that's one of, like, it's so amazing. Like my nieces and nephews now use my kit, and it's so fun to see them actually like going, oh, like they're describing their symptoms to their mum. Whereas like I think back even as a child going, oh, I don't know, I feel sore somewhere.
Yeah.
And
that's a good point to make, because it is like homeopathy really does make you, like, even just in the process of finding the remedy, you actually do have to stop and like check in with your body. And like you said, I think when we're raised in a world that doesn't teach you to do that, that's so foreign to some people, just even connecting to their body in that way.
Yeah. And then because of that, like when you're using like homeopathy, for instance, you're working with the vital force, you're working with the body's own natural healing abilities versus taking something and suppressing it and prolonging it out. It's like you're going to pay that debt eventually. And I think that's what people don't understand, is that where it's basically like you're saying, I'll just deal with this pain another day.
Yeah.
But you will deal with it eventually. It's just in probably a different form.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the more that we can come back and connect within and really get into that habit, I feel like that's power right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually want to ask you, like, in terms of because we've, you're remedy trained, and we've had Melissa on, and, we've talked about how some of the remedies sometimes can bring about emotional release and things like that. So have you found that on, with your journey, that using the homeopathic remedies has also helped with the emotional healing?
Massively.
Yeah.
Like I think more than anything, that's been one of the biggest catalysts to healing for both of us. We've gone down a really big journey of it. I remember even I took a remedy called Ignatia, and I kind of just like took it I was like, I'm just going to see what happens. Didn't think anything of it. And then I went to it was my little niece's birthday, and we were having like a pamper day for her. And it was when The Little Mermaid just came out, like the live action. And I was like, so when are we all going to plan to go? And then my sister and my mum looked at each other and then looked at me, and they're like, oh, we went last night. And I just burst into tears and then cracked it. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, that was our movie. That was the first movie you ever took me to. And I went into this big, like, emotional release, and they were all just stopped and looked at me, because I don't act like that around them ever. And they were like, what is going on with you? And I was like, nah, I'm just off it. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Crazy. And then I was thinking about it later, and I was like, why was I like, what was that? Like, it was like all of these emotions just came to the surface of, like, anytime I felt like I was like left out as a child. And yeah, I realized it was because I took Ignatia.
Yeah, how funny.
Yeah.
It's actually funny because that's
that
probably how
effect.
I would have reacted as a child to that, because
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
Mermaid was my favorite Disney movie.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's been so many incredible releases from so many different things.
What was it where you said that you put me on the drawing one?
Oh yeah, so when just before the whole bladder thing came to a head last year with the infection pushing its way out through the skin, I actually gave him silica.
Oh yeah.
Silica is a really good remedy for when there's like slow healing. And so because of that, there was like, it's kind of like a failure to thrive kind of feel to it. And so I was giving it to him for that, but it's also a drawing out remedy as well. So it will kind of draw things out of the system in order for you to release, for you to be able to speed up the healing process. So I did mention, because that was actually just before the remedy event that all this kind of came to a head. And Barney was in hospital at the time when I came up for that.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to Peter Berryman about it, and I told him what happened, and he goes, I know, sometimes silica just will get things out whether you want it or not.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little bit more cautious with it now. But at the same time, it's absolutely brilliant. Like, I'm never not in awe of, even though I know the power of it, there's so many things, even with a lot of my cases that I have, the healing that you see, that there's no way that it can be a coincidence or placebo or anything. It's just, yeah, the power of energy, really, the frequency. Once you find that resonance within the right frequency, it's just magic.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
even if it is, my mum's argument's always been, well, even if it is placebo, that just proves how powerful we are. If we,
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's win-win,
Yes.
It's win-win.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just had an experience just the other day. Again, I've been using homeopathy most of my life, where I thought it was just, I sometimes get pimples on the edge of my lip, but it turned out to be cold sore. And it was there most of the day. It wasn't until like the end of the day where I was like, oh, it's actually really itchy and burny. And straight away it's like, well, what can I put on topically? So I put on some colloidal silver gel. It's mixed with aloe vera gel, and they say that aloe is good for them. Anyway, I was like, I'll just try that. And then I was like, oh, I'll see if I've got any homeopathic. So I looked up my symptoms. I actually didn't know it was down to 2. So I took a dose of each. I woke up in the morning and it had gone down and the symptoms had completely gone. I was like, that has never happened before. Because usually anyone that gets cold sores know it kind of pops up, it gets worse, and then until it goes away. And now it's just going away on its own. I only took 1 dose of each of the homeopathics.
What were the doses? What were the names of them?
Rust Tox and can't remember the other one. But silica actually is interesting too, because I took that after my surgery just in case. I had no leakage or anything, but just in case there was anything afterwards. Our friend that's homeopath said, yeah, just take I was only taking, I think, 1 dose a day. And yeah, and again, it's interesting you say like slow healing process. It was the same thing for me. So yeah, silica's great.
Yeah, love it.
What were we going to ask?
I was curious about, through all this with the pain, like you mentioned, you have quite the high pain threshold. and dealing obviously with a lot of pressure and stress, all the stuff. Where does breath come into this for you? What have you learned so far with that, and how did that help?
Breath has been,
His life.
yeah, pretty much it. Like how it can just, I don't know, it's so hard to explain, but yeah, just with my breath has been is what kept my system so calm, my head so calm, like, and just how it can actually just take the pain away as well. Like
Yeah, you
it,
used it a lot as well for
I
pain.
used it a lot for pain,
Yeah.
like so, yeah, and I think yeah, just but it can also I find sometimes when I do breaths, it can also find things like find a niggle or find something that's really hurting at the time. But you just once you just push through that and come back down again, it just eases it all off. So it's like it almost can, yeah. It not only does it calm stuff, but it also can find stuff to then push through that to then come back down again. Like
It was pretty cool. Barney was doing Wim Hof in hospital and with when he was attached to the monitors and you could
Oh,
see
oh,
the
that's cool.
changes.
yeah, that's
And also like every time they'd come in to do obs because he leans more on the lower side for blood pressure and sometimes they get a little bit alarmed and but you basically just put yourself through a little quick 30-second like
yeah,
30 breaths and
yeah.
then yeah it's
They
yeah
just yeah, they just it's funny because yeah, they a lot of things that they like even though I did have a bit of low blood pressure, like I didn't feel it. Like they said, like it's still the power of I find it from the power of breath and the power of like just your knowing as well is that you can just feel fine. Like because they go, you look fine, but your blood pressure is really low, and I'm like, yeah, well, like
that's just what I
that's
am right
just
now.
what it is. Like it is what it is. Like why do you have to make something out of it?
Yeah.
And
Also,
what?
too, because I think they expect him to be different purely based on his spinal cord injury as well. And he has, like, he, we've got aura rings,
Mm.
and his thing, like, his readings are basically at the same of an elite athlete. Like, his
Wow.
breath patterns at night are like very, very low. And then his HRV is extremely high. So he recovers really well. But I think because he had so much taken away from him physically that his breath and his mind are the two things that he has full control over,
Mm.
that they're the things that you've really honed and harnessed
Yeah, definitely,
to your like to your advantage in so many ways. And yeah, which has helped you to be able to achieve so much.
definitely.
Yeah. And also too, now that we know he can hold his breath calmly and with composure, it also makes everyone that takes him out surfing a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
You don't have to rush as much.
You don't have to get out there and just let him sit for a few minutes. You get 3
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
I'm a little meditation right now. He's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell Isaac's like, he loves all that Wim Hof breath stuff and he wants to hold his breath.
Yeah.
Well, he wants to
It's
do
so-
free diving, which you have to hold your breath for.
Yeah.
I'm like, go and do that with Barney.
Well,
Me and Kada will sit on the beach and sip
Yeah,
cocktails
yeah.
because I'm like, that
Yeah,
is
good.
not my jam.
I've definitely I've got some mental blocks because I grew up in Wyoming. We don't have an ocean there. None of the lakes are warm enough to swim in. And I even just on Brunswick Heads on the river, gone swimming out there. And as soon as I can't see the shore or the beach anymore, my brain just goes, get to shore. So I just need to baby step into that and just, breathe and just overcome that fear. But heck, if you could do it and you're doing surfing and all that, it's like, dude, if Barney could do it, I need to get over my fears and just
Yeah, the coolest thing about it too is that when Barney first had his accident, he was put on a ventilator. So they actually tubed him and they said he'd be on a ventilator for the rest of his life because his lungs collapsed.
Wow.
And so he had to learn to breathe again. So I think even that part of the story is so cool because it would have been the most, like I think about it we've told this story so many times, but I think about it going, that must have been so scary and so suffocatingly like, so even that, when you think of like the level of his mindset going, most people would just give up and be like, this is it. It's too hard.
Yeah.
And he only had chances to do it once a day. They wouldn't give him, like, if he freaked out and they needed to turn it back on, they would say, no, you can't try again until tomorrow.
Right.
And yeah, do you want to tell that story? Because it's really cool.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, so what they said, yeah, they said, well, we can cap it off and then, but like, yeah, and then, but they said if you, like, you're not going to be able to breathe without it. So I'm like, okay. So then they were like, so they cap it off and then literally, but that first feeling, like, I felt like I was suffocated. Like like they were just like, I lasted like not even a second. Like it's that whole freak out, like that you go through when you first do that. So I freak out, and then they're like, okay, bang, and they have to put it back in. I'm like, damn it! Like now I've got to wait another 24 hours. And so then the next day I was like, did it, and it was like 40 seconds, and I'm like, oh, this is incredible. I can breathe, stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, hold on a minute, no, I can't breathe. Put it back on. Like so, then all right, next day. And then it got to 2 minutes, and then after that it got to 40 minutes, and then it was just such a that whole coming in and out. Like you're like, oh, I'm doing so good, and then I'm like, but hold on, I'm not supposed to be able to breathe. Like, oh shit, okay, all right, I've got to put the thing back on. So then it was 40 minutes, and then it went to 2 hours, and then from 2 hours it actually went to 5 days.
Wow.
They go, all right, you've got 2 days. If you can do it for 2 more days, we'll take it out. And I'm like, oh man, that's a long time. And I was like almost like freaking out, going, oh no, like, and this was my last chance. Like they said, we're not gonna if you don't do this, like now we gotta put it back and it's gotta stay in. And I'm like, far out. Okay. So literally that 2 days was such a test, within, like I was just like, I have to do this. Like and so once I got to 7 days, they took it out, and it was like far out. Like that was such a crazy feat. Like that was the first time that I had been told that I couldn't do something, that besides being a kid, when your mum tells you can't do something, so you do it anyway. But like in a medical like thing, like when they tell you, and then just that, so that was just a whole part of how confident I am in that whole knowing process now. But yeah, it was funny because they put it in and they took it out. Oh, sorry, they took it out, and then they just put, literally, I had a hole in my neck and they just put a Band-Aid over it, and I'm like, okay, sweet, like. And then they go, all right, you can talk now. And I'm like, because for that whole 3 weeks, I couldn't talk like at all, like because of the tracheotomy was there, and they didn't have a thing. So then literally after 3 weeks, they were like, okay, you can talk now. And I'm like, and they're like, no, you can talk. And I'm like, oh yeah, I can too. So it was just like, that was just a whole another thing. But my voice was super, 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 super soft, and like, that was one thing that sort of got me into the breath work, was to be able to get my like lung capacity back up, to be able to have a conversation. Yeah, because I couldn't.
Yeah. I would be afraid coming out of that the first time I'm talking. It's like, what if my voice is permanently really high? That'd be my biggest.
I was like, I don't want to be that. I'll be that guy. But
it's so good. But even like, I know for myself, and you probably experienced it, even when you first go for those breath holds, and it really is a mental game of going, you go through that mental chatter of like, oh no, I'm doing this. No, I need to breathe. Okay, no, if I don't breathe, like what will happen? Will I just automatically start breathing again? Like you go through these, you're going, am I breathing now? I can't tell if I'm breathing or not. It's such.
Do I need to breathe? I don't need to breathe. I've been going for 3 minutes. Like, I don't need to breathe ever again. Oh, hold on, yes I do.
How incredible. Like I can only imagine like how liberating that must feel. I mean, we all have those experiences when we push ourselves to do something that we never thought we could do, but especially in that situation that like almost feels like life and death kind of thing. Like, am I going to have to have this on for the rest of my life to be able to breathe or not? And that actually brings me to like, when did you get back on a surfboard? After, like, where in your journey did you decide I'm going to go back out in the surf?
Yeah, it was actually 5 years after I'd done it. Like it was another one of those things like I wanted to surf, but I just didn't know how I was going to surf, and I didn't, and I was in my way with sort of just life, and just thought I'd left that surfing behind me again. And then just after 5 years, a mate just said like, let's just get you in the water and stuff, and I'd been swimming I'd been swimming in a pool for a couple of years before that, and they're just like, well, let's get you to surf, and that was like like that was another scary thing. Like it was, I didn't, I was scared of the ocean. Like I was like, I don't, because I actually had to go back, sorry to circle back, but in the pool, I actually had a very scary moment in the pool, just swimming in a hydrotherapy. I was swimming because I used to swim around and stuff, and then I dove down and I came up. Like this was after my accident. I was swimming and I went to come up and I took in a mouthful of water, and then literally my body just went limp, and I couldn't move, couldn't roll, and literally my friend was only a meter away from me, but he just thought I was just sort of just relaxing in the water, and so he didn't realize that I started not being able to breathe. I couldn't move my body. Like it was and like then things started, like the bubbles started going really like bright. So it's almost like I was going towards that white light. And then literally, luckily, like after a while, my friend thought something was up and flipped me over, and he said, "She like," and like right, and I just sort of came to, and he goes, "You were like blue, like." So,
Yeah.
and that scared me. So I was like, being in a pool, like I've done that, and like now I've got to get in the ocean where it's crazy. So
Yeah.
so that was like another big thing I had to get through. First, it was mates riding the board with me and stuff, and then being without the board, like being by myself and being without crew and getting pushed onto a wave, and then but as your confidence comes back, obviously you just do it. And then I used to surf without a buoyancy vest. Like I only wear a buoyancy vest now is just to make everyone else feel good. Like, like oh, I can't believe I surf for after getting back on the board and just feeling that exhilaration again, and the feeling that's just like no other. It's yeah, it was yeah. I now wear a vest just.
So his first like proper surf back was at Pipe in Hawaii.
Oh yeah, no, Hawaii.
Wow.
It's the heaviest wave in the whole world.
You got towed out with a jet ski.
It was a small day,
Yeah,
but still,
day, but just even
it's
just
still
feeling
power.
that raw power of just yeah, it's just not like it's such a crazy feel, like a feeling that you feel like it's which is you don't you can't experience that sort of thing unless you're sort of being put in that situation, and it's I don't know, it's so hard to explain, but yeah, so such
Euphoric.
yeah, so euphoric, like
Yeah, because you're literally just like dancing on this thing.
yeah, exactly, just getting
Ship, you know?
Yeah.
by Mother Nature, like just getting so much, your body just picks up all the senses around you, and
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
And now he's a world champion surfer.
Yeah,
That's
what was the
incredible.
gold medal from? Where did you pick that up at?
That was in
17.
yeah,
16.
2016 I first started competing again. Like I just decided to go in a surf competition, and because they'd been trying to hassle me for like a couple of years, and I was like, all right, I didn't really want to go into it, but I started surfing in the combat contest, and I ended up winning the Australian title. And then I was like, okay, cool, all right, well, I'll go to America and I'll have a go at the world title in 2016, and sort of went into it a bit cocky and not sort of
You didn't really prepare.
no didn't prepare at
It's
all.
kind of like we were there and he was just doing it.
I was just
To be
doing that
fair.
because we're in America, and then
Yeah.
I got like I ended up getting second, and I got super, super like.
He won all of his heats until literally like he was winning until the last, I think it was like minute.
Yeah,
And
ended up losing, and
and
I just got, I can't think of the word, but I just, yeah, just, and that was sort of, that was hard.
Incredible though. Like first
Yeah.
time
yeah, I said you got a silver medal for Australia. That's amazing. He's like, it's not gold. I'm the first loser.
It's like Ricky Bobby. If you're not first, you're last.
Yeah.
And,
Fuck, Barney, what were you doing?
yeah, exactly. So I was like, yeah, so I was,
And then at 8 had him.
and at 8
for the
at me, I
whole
was like,
year.
for that whole year, I was like, oh man, I'm just so that year I put everything into it. I put into my training, my therapy, and then ended up winning the Australian title again, which was incredible, and then came to the world title. And I'm just,
The US Open.
oh yeah, and then just after I came and just surfed in the US Open because we were there, and I won that, and I was like, okay, cool. So all right, now the big test, like this was the coming off it's not a loss, but it felt like I came off a loss the year before, and then I just had to put everything into it, and I was just so lucky that everything worked in my way, and
But I'll tell you a funny story about Master Manifesting is that we were writing our book at the time and we had to submit the last manuscript before the world title. But he was like, no, but I'm doing the world title and I want that in the book. Like, I want to write about me winning. And they were like, oh, we can't push it any further back. And he's like, okay. He wrote it in the book as if he won it.
I love it.
And he's like, it's either going to be really good or we're going to have to be like backtrack, write a revision.
yeah.
Love that.
Way
That's
to call the shot.
yeah,
I love
that's
it.
incredible. Yeah, and the determination of you. Like, have you guys looked into human design at all? Because
Yes. Well, we've had our human design done just on the booklet thing, but we haven't actually done anything with.
I would love to read for you guys. Because Barney, I would be very surprised if you don't have a defined will center. There's
Yeah, it's a manifesting generator.
yeah,
And I'm just a generator.
yeah.
But
Just a regular old
Just
generator.
Has he got? If you can see his chart, has he got the smallest center in the chart? Does he have that colored in? It's kind of off to the right a little bit on next to the middle right section.
no, where
When we're
That's the will center. It's all about willpower. And that's like, they say with the will center, when you've got it defined, you've kind of got to be careful it doesn't override everything else. It's the strongest center and it governs like willpower, like motivation, determination. And
is that okay? So it's oh no, hang on, sorry. He's a manifester.
oh, yep, I definitely say that. Oh, it's probably that energy too, even if he doesn't have the will center. Because
And
that's,
it says strategy, initiate, and inform.
yep.
nice.
Inner authority is wait for clarity. Signature peace, not self-theme anger. Definition collaborative, and profile 4-6.
Authority, wait for clarity. I don't know what. Normally the authority is based on the.
Well, for a manifester, we don't really come across too many manifestors though. So.
Yeah, but authority is like you just like emotional or there is an ego authority, which is related to the will center. But even if you don't
Might be wrong.
even if you
sounds
don't
right.
have a defined will center, that's kind of like the manifestor energy. That's why your strategy is to like initiate and inform others, because the manifestor energy, it's the auras, like they say it's a repelling aura. Not that it repels people necessarily, but it's all about putting things out into the world. So initiating and doing. And I always think of that energy like those what are those earth movers that have the drill on the front and they're just like plowing through the manifestor energy. So if you don't inform others of what you're about to do, it can be quite jarring. And that's definitely, I can say that when you're just like,
That's fully you.
yeah, I'm doing
The
this.
whole thing is you're like, if I speak it out and I say it, then that's the first step.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, if I put it out there, I have to make it happen.
Yeah, that's manifestor energy for sure.
Even when it came to like when we were first getting really serious, I really wanted to get engaged, and he was like, settle down. And I was pestering him, and he was like, I'm not proposing to you until I can get down on one knee. And I was like, all right, well, like, let's get training for that then.
I love it.
But the thing is, I was at every single training session. So, of course, he wasn't going to practice it in front of me. So I expect it. And anyway, he got down on one knee and proposed, which was amazing. And then the next thing was, I was so excited. He's like, no, but we're not getting married until we can have our first dance.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God.
I love it. Well, if anyone can do it, Barney can do it. So
yeah. And so, yeah, we were able to do that. But yeah, we trained really hard. But also too, because we were filming our documentary at the time as well. And it was based on the whole lead up from our engagement all the way to the wedding of him training for us to share our first dance together.
Oh, beautiful.
And he, yeah, basically put it out there. But then a good friend of ours, Mick Fanning, he was doing the interview for it. And he goes, oh, it's going to be so good to see him standing at the altar. And Barney's like, that wasn't even my goal, but now that he said it, now it's my goal. Like, now I have to do it. Mick said it.
Oh, I love
Nice.
it. That's so good.
What's the
That's
name of the
basically the
documentary
thing.
again for people?
Sorry?
The what? Sorry?
What's the name of your documentary again for people?
Oh, it's called You and Me.
You and Me.
And you can find that at youandmecollective.com.au. You can get it on Vimeo. I think you can also get it on iTunes for everyone around the
And
world.
it's on Amazon too.
And on Amazon. And then our book's called The Essence of You and Me as well. So you can buy that at any bookstore.
Nice.
Buy that and then learn how to manifest. Because it really is. It's like a roadmap. And you figured it out organically just by living life and not succumbing to life.
Yeah.
And I'm super pumped. I'm feeling super motivated just hearing that. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, because I know this stuff's real. And I love that people can hear it from somebody that's not like I like Joe Dispenza, but he's a bit kind of, I don't know, he's kind of going off and becoming a wizard or something. But you're just like a regular dude that just likes doing stuff.
Well, and a lot of
Go to one of his events actually just before everything kind of like
Yeah.
it hit the fan.
oh yeah.
So I feel like that was like a good boost of like, okay, ready to get into the next step.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
A lot of the stuff you're doing is kind of the stuff that Joe Dispenza teaches and like how he healed himself. It's basically like it's like because I got into Joe Dispenza for a while, like 10 years ago, and like I've got one of his books and read it, and it's great. And I think it's definitely a lot to learn, but I don't get too caught up in because I don't know if I fully believe in like the quantum, like it's a way of explaining things, but is it true? Probably not. But yeah, it's just like, but what he talks about, it's visualization, it's intention, it's belief, like all of these things are so important. And it's like, as long as you've got that down pat, you can do, anything as you guys have done. But before we wrap up, I really also want to ask how your trip went traveling through Europe. Cause I know I was like kind of following a little bit on Instagram and your stories. And I know that you kind of made a point to sort of, almost like inform people of like what your experience was like traveling with, in a wheelchair and like all these things that you, all these like special requirements that you need while you're traveling. So how was the overall experience with that? I'm sure, was there some negative and positive throughout the trip?
It was actually mostly all positive.
Yeah.
I mean, even the things that didn't really work out ended up being positive. So we only had one experience where we rocked up at our accommodation. It was in Salzburg in Austria. And we just had a full day with the Red Bull, what are they called? Flying Bulls. And so we went up in the helicopter with one of the pilots, and it was the most incredible experience. And so we'd come back, we were on a high from that. It was about 5:30 in the afternoon, and we'd get to our accommodation. First of all, the navigating to get into it, the hotel was inside a non-driving, like a restricted driving zone. So you needed a code to get in, and you're basically driving through a piazza that is covered in people and restaurants.
Oh, wow.
That's why it's the kitchen, like
the smallest.
your rear vision mirror is like hitting people's back, like in restaurants on each side,
And so we're like driving through really slow, going, I'm like, sorry, I think I'm going the right way, I don't know. Anyway, we pull up and I look and I'm like, oh, maybe just call them, because there was a big flight of stairs. And I'm like, just call them and see like where the entrance is, like for you to get in. And so he called and I was like, I'll just start like grabbing some stuff. Anyway, he calls them and he's like, just wondering like where the accessible entrance is. And they're like, oh yeah, like just come up the stairs and then we've got an elevator and it's fully accessible. And he's like, no, but where's the like, is there a way to get in around the stairs? And she's like, no, you come up to the stairs. He goes, but it says on your thing that you're wheelchair accessible. She goes, yeah, we have a lift.
Oh wow, they missed. They missed
yeah. Basically, you had to climb the stairs and then you'll find.
Oh, God, that's hilarious.
So anyway, we were like, and it's 5:30 in the afternoon, and we're like, I'm so sorry, we're not going to be able to stay here. Like if it was a couple of stairs, I could have managed it, but not at that stage. And also to even the parking situation, I would have had to park outside of the city and then walk back in.
Oh,
Jeez,
what?
wow.
It was a bit of like a,
Weird.
yeah. Anyway, we called the guys at Red Bull and they helped us find some other accommodation. We booked that last minute, which was good because we were like, oh, are we going to be able to find anywhere?
Yeah.
Then so we go to leave and then we're stuck in there and we can't leave.
Oh, no way.
And we were like I actually asked a taxi because it's got these little boom gate things that
Like a
they've
bollard-
bolted
a bollard.
out of the
Well, yeah.
and so I asked one of the taxi guys if he could just buzz us out, and he's like, no, you need your own. And so we had to call the hotel back again. Be like, can you just let us out?
Oh my God, that place sounds like a nightmare.
Well,
So funny. But anyway, we made it to the new accommodation and it was so much better. It was on the water. We had these beautiful windows that opened up and overlooked the water and you could see the town. So it actually worked out so much better. So that was really our only hiccup.
Yeah.
And everything else was surprisingly a lot more accessible than we were expecting it to be. I mean, you kind of go in going like, it's not going to be perfect. Obviously, these towns and cities are thousands of years old.
Yeah.
But the way that they've adapted it has been pretty good. And we kind of just went in with the idea of like, we'll just see what happens. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We'll just be adaptable and we'll just move on. And we just weren't attached to that we had to do one thing in particular. It was,
Yeah.
we were
Well,
able to do so much
we did
more.
everything we wanted to do. And
We were able to hike through the Dolomites, which we never, ever thought that would be a thing that we would do. And then from that, now we're like looking at all other places that we can go and do that because that was such an incredible experience.
It was amazing to watch you guys, like just seeing you like on stories and stuff and seeing you, Barney, in your wheelchair that looks like it's like made for the Olympics or something.
Yes.
You were doing everything. I saw it, I was like, good for you. Like, because again, like going back to like, unfortunately, so many people just stay a victim to whatever it is that's happened to them and they tell themselves these stories. Oh, I can't do that because of my injury. I can't do that because of this. And it's them putting themselves in their own mind cage and like, just to see you like, and to be that example for others that you can literally do anything you want. Like there's no limitation, even when there's a perception of physical limitation, it's still not a limitation if, unless you let it be.
Yeah, no, it was so cool. Just like even road tripping, we road tripped from Munich to Rome and that was such a cool experience of just being able to just pop in where we wanted to go and just
because it was obviously they was talking about overcoming mind stuff and that as well. Because man, like it was going, my head was spinning but the way we got through it is we relived and rewrote the book all over. I mean, rewrote the story all over again. So when we went to Brisbane, we stayed at the exact same hotel. We dropped the car for the same place, went to there, got the exact same flight time. So it was like, we stayed at the hotel. I was like, oh, awesome. Okay. Hotel ticked off. Okay.
Yeah.
I can rewrite that. That's all right.
Yeah.
Went to the airport.
To go before, and then you had to cancel and go back. So you went back through and just rewrote that story.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that was actually what we did for basically that whole last chapter of you being back at the hospital. The room he got put in was the first room that he ever got put in.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so the same thing, he had a few of the same procedures and we were like, oh, once we found out he was going to have them again, the ones where they go in through the kidney. but thankfully that time they were able to give him morphine prior to it. And then, yeah, basically like we went through and rewrote every single thing.
That was hard, yeah.
Yeah, and it's done.
Yeah.
It's all been replaced with great memory.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. That's so awesome. Honestly, I've loved this conversation. It's so inspiring, and I know so many other people will listen to this and just love it. Before you let everyone, well, I guess let everyone know where they can find you. You already mentioned the website, but also Harmonic Folk and the festival coming up. We're going to be there. Can't wait to see you guys.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you guys. It's a dream come true. I basically floated the idea by Mel that I was looking for somewhere to be able to perform my music in a wholesome way, and combine all my loves from doing homeopathy and health coaching, and just wanted to combine all those worlds together and just bring people in to have like good conversations and give back to the communities that support this life basically. And so we're really excited for the first event on November 8th in the Sunshine Coast. And then we'll see how this goes. But I've already got a lot of people reaching out, offering their farms as well for another venue. So
awesome.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
For sure.
We're excited for that for sure.
Yeah, can't wait. And I mean, you went to Living Free Festival last year, and we've just had the second one again this year. And these events are such an incredible hub for, like-minded individuals to come together and connect in person. In this world that we live in, everything's online, and it's amazing. It's great that we can have these conversations and do the podcast like this, but it's just a different energy when people come together and, you're sharing like this amazing music and, when people are speaking and educating, and it's just a whole different vibe. So I'm super pumped. And I mean, the Sunny Coast is such a beautiful spot as well.
Yes. Yeah. We're super stoked and excited to be partnering with Remedy and Farmer's Footprint. And it's going to be fun.
Yeah, can't wait. And so how else can people connect with you? So you got the website, and you're both on Instagram and socials?
Yeah, I'm just under Kada Miller, KADAMILLER, and you're...
Yeah, I'm just Barney_Miller, BARNEY_MILLER.
Yeah, and then we'll be launching our new YouTube series soon, which will be fun. And so that's got all of our travels in it as well. And then it's going to be documenting all of the next chapter, basically, of Barney's 3.0 comeback.
Awesome.
Yeah, Barney 3.0. I like that.
Yeah, this is incredible. I can't wait to see that. It's going to be so good. Thank you so much for coming on, guys. We'll have all your links in the show notes. I highly recommend people go and find you and follow you and learn more about your story. And we can't wait to see you in November. You're going to be there too, Barney?
Yeah, I'm not missing it.
We fly straight in from Italy and then go straight there.
Oh, awesome. Nice. Oh, so you guys are going to be on a high. Bring us some Italian food, would you?
Bring some olive oil for sure.
Love it.
See you guys.
Yeah, can't wait to see you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Natural AF podcast, where we explore holistic healing modalities, mindsets, and methods that reconnect us to nature and our natural state of being.
If something resonated, share this episode and see the show notes for our guest links, as well as all of our discount codes for our aligned affiliates and natural art form, where we handcraft a range of organic, natural remedies to help support your body's natural healing abilities and help support the show.
If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please take a few seconds to leave us a rating and review. And if you're watching on Rumble or YouTube, hit the like button and drop us a comment, and be sure to subscribe to our channel for the latest updates.
We're not here to conform. We're here to remember what's real. So step into your power, be curious, and be natural AF.